Good evening. The following is a live broadcast for the City of Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Board meetings are regularly scheduled on the first and third Tuesdays of each month at 7 p.m. In advance of the BMA meeting, a copy of the agenda is available for inspection at the Kingsport Public Library, City Hall, or online at kingsporttn.gov.
Good evening. Welcome to the Kingsport Board of Mayor and Aldermen business meeting. This is the meeting where we actually deliberate and vote. The day's Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. The first order of business will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance by Mr. Ken Weems, our chief planner at the city and also an Army veteran. And please remain standing for the invocation to be led by Pastor Rick Mead with the Lynn Garden Baptist Church. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we just stand in awe of who you are and are ever mindful, Lord, that everything good that we enjoy in this life comes from you. And I thank you, Lord, for even the very freedom that is being exercised here tonight, that we can gather in this place. And so, Lord, I pray for our BMA that, Lord, whatever business they must deal with tonight, Lord, I pray that you would give them guidance and wisdom to deal with each item in accordance with your will. We thank you, Lord, for this place where we live and work. And, Lord, just continue to lead and guide us and help us all, Lord, to do our part to make this community the best that it can be. In Jesus Christ's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor, and thank you, Mr. Williams, and please be seated. Madam Recorder, please call the roll.
Mayor Shull.
Here.
Vice Mayor George.
Here.
Alderman Cooper. Here. Alderman Duncan.
Here.
Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Ulterman.
Here.
Alderman Phillips.
Thank you. By my reckoning, all 7 elected board members are present, as well as the city manager and appropriate staff. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we have 3 recognitions or presentations on the agenda tonight. We will begin with a proclamation recognizing Suicide Prevention Month, and Alderman Cooper will go to the podium to deliver that proclamation.
After being asked to present this tonight, I did some research today, and the research is just profound. It really touched my heart. Over 703,000 people across the world die each year of suicide. For every suicide, there's probably 20 other people that make a suicidal attempt, and many more with severe thoughts of suicide. Creating hope through action is the theme for the World Suicide Prevention for the past 3 years, or 2 years, and then this year. By creating hope through action, we can signal to people experiencing suicidal thoughts that there's hope and that we care and want to support them. It also suggests that our actions, no matter how big or small, can provide hope to those who are struggling. And I looked at also some statistics, and 79% of all people who die by suicide are male. Although more women than men attempt suicide, men are 4 times more likely to die by suicide. And the one that I guess touched my heart, if anyone knows me, they know that I love children, and that suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death among people aged 10 to 14. And then it's also the 3rd leading cause of death among people aged 15 to 24. Suicide is the 12th leading cause of death overall in the United States. So these statistics alone just make us stop and pause for a minute and realize how important this topic is to discuss. I mean, a lot of people don't want to discuss it, or it's such a hard topic to talk about, but I think that we need to realize that just one comment or one suggestion or one conversation with someone can change the the course of their lives. So the city of Kingsport has a proclamation that whereby suicide is one of the most disruptive and tragic events a family or community can experience, with more than 1,100 lives being lost in our state yearly, an estimated 25 attempts for suicide for each suicide death. Whereas suicide is the 9th leading cause of all deaths in Tennessee, the 2nd leading cause of deaths among children aged 10 to 14, as well as young adults 25 to 34, and the 3rd leading cause of death for children 15 to 24. Whereas more than 3 lives a day are lost to suicide in Tennessee, which means we lose 21 Tennesseans each week and 97 people per month. And whereas Tennessee veterans, active duty military, and National Guardmen face a disproportionate risk compared to the general population, which more dying from suicide than combat. Whereas public awareness of this tragic problem is the key to preventing further suffering and the loss of lives, and the risk for human self-destruction can be reduced through awareness, education, and treatment at the highest risk for suicide is among the survivors of those who die by suicide or those who have attempted suicide. Suicide prevention has been declared a state priority by the governor and the Tennessee legislators. They have declared suicide prevention as a state priority in partnership with the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network to implement the Tennessee Strategy for Suicide Prevention. And whereas Tennessee is the national leader in the effort to prevent suicide, being one of the first states to develop a suicide prevention and evaluation plan covering the lifespan, and whereas the governor of Tennessee has appointed a Suicide Prevention Network Advisory Council to coordinate the implementation of the Tennessee strategies for suicide prevention, and the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network is a grassroots collaboration of Tennesseans and organizations working to eliminate the stigma of suicides, educate the community about the warning signs of suicide, and ultimately reduce the risk of suicide in our state. Whereas we encourage all Tennesseans to inquire as to the well-being of their family, friends, and to convey their appreciation for those existing by any gesture they deem appropriate. A simple phone call, a message, a handshake, or a hug can go a long way toward helping someone realize that suicide is not the answer. Now, whereas Pat Shull, on behalf of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen in the City of Kingsport, do proclaim September 2022 as Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So, like I said, doing some research today, it's one of those topics you don't like to think about, but it's really important that you think about it. And the same, I've heard our police chief say, if you see something, say something. I guess same thing here. If you see something or you feel something, you need to say something. So, and this is Susie Peterson is here to accept the proclamation.
Okay, can I say a few words?
You sure can.
Yes, I am Susie Peterson with the United Way of Greater Kingsport. I'm here on behalf of Kayla Sharp. She is our regional coordinator for the Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network. It does start with just the awareness and reducing the stigma for seeking help, and this is a beginning great first step. So we really appreciate you guys doing this. It is a leading cause of death, but it is also the most preventable cause of death. So thank you again for doing this.
Ms. Peterson, thank you for the work you've done, as well as your colleagues, and also in the drug prevention area. Very important. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr.
All right,
Manager.
our next recognition is from Alderman Phillips for the PALS employee recognition. I'll ask Alderman Phillips to go to the podium and invite his guests to join him, please.
Well, I'm very excited to do this because if anybody knows anything about me, it's that I really love PALS. So I think something that is important about Kingsport is that everybody up here, most people in this audience, if not everybody, loves Kingsport. And we can tell people till we're blue in the face, but, our Pat and Ralph here probably see more people in a week than the mayor sees in a year. And their spirit, and they are what I consider gatekeepers for Kingsport. I mean, because when people come into Kingsport, PALS is one of their first stops, whether they have lived here their whole life or whether they're coming to visit or whether it's their first time in Kingsport. I was at the home builders meeting right before I came here, and a guy from a company who's out of town said he got into town and the first place he went was Powell's because that's what everybody told him to do. And so that is, and the fact that when they get there, that they get to see and talk to you two is just a real benefit to our community. And you brighten the day of anybody that comes in there. And I think it's interesting that every morning when I was in high school, on my way to school, I would stop at Powell's, and Pat and Ralph were there. And then in college, when I would come back, Pat and Ralph were there. And when I moved back from Greenville, Pat and Ralph were there. And so they've been there for 33 years working the front. And my favorite thing to see is when you go in, Ralph has it already rung up, whatever you're getting, and Pat has the drink already ready for you. So, I mean, they've got the system down pat. And so we just wanted to honor you. We've got a couple of commendations here. They say the same thing, but I'm gonna read them. Now, they say on here, Mrs. Pat Gillum and Mr. Ralph Gillum, but you are Pat and Ralph to me, so that's how I'm going to read it. So Pat and Ralph have been the key to success of Powell's on Revere Street in downtown Kingsport, and where they have brightened the day of Powell's patrons for more than 33 years with welcoming conversation. And whereas they have come to work early, stayed late, and worked extra shifts to offer more opportunity to build relationships with customers. And whereas they have always been a part of the FunFest kickoff day, helping to handle the influx of guests from parade festivities, and whereas they are a model citizen for our community, serving as an example of hard work, dedication, and leadership to everyone they meet. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Patrick W. Schull of the City of Kingsport, and on behalf of the Board of Mayor of Alderman, do hereby issue this official commendation to Pat and Ralph Gillum for 33 years of being a gatekeeper to the Kingsport community and making it a great place to live. And I truly thank you all. Anything you want to say here? If not, I might ask Tom to come up and talk about you.
Like I said, it's just a pleasure seeing all of y'all come in there. I know most of you, and I can't even go out of town without somebody knowing where I work at. I've been as far as Florida, and they chase us down that building right back there. We'll say, is that a customer? I'll say, yes, sir. So, thank you.
Pat and
y'all
Ralph,
very much.
thank you. And I'm looking at the CEO, Mr. Tom Crosby. Tom, your organization not only provides a product that everybody's crazy about, but you demonstrate excellence in the way you conduct your business, and we appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. City Manager.
All right, our last presentation is the September Awards for Keep Kingsport Beautiful. I'll ask Sharon Hayes, Director of Keep Kingsport Beautiful, to come up and deliver the presentation.
Good evening. This will be our final Beautification Awards presentation for 2022. Let's see. Let's see.
And check and see if it's on the side there.
No, it's off. Okay, this is the home of Lola Gamble on Cooks Terrace in Cooks Valley. This beautiful property is accented by several different flower beds. A bridge sits in a focal point upon arrival at the house. 2 concrete bird baths and several concrete statues, as well as 2 concrete benches placed together, complete the scene. A flagpole stands among the rocks on one edge of the property. Flowers and plants accented with various mulched beds, including vinca, million bells, dahlias, celosia, purple phlox, salvia, daisies, and several rose bushes. This is the home of June B. Lane on McCoy Street. This home has lots of beautiful flower beds, including Swiss chard and a butterfly garden. Ms. Lane won several years ago at a different address, and now she's won the award for her current home. This is the home of Earl and Effie Chapman on Pine Needle Path. This home is a condo townhouse owned by this couple, ages 88 and 90 years old. The Chapmans take great pride in being able to care for their property. Playful bunny statuettes are well placed in the front and back flower beds. White lawn furniture is accented by pots of red geraniums. The American flag is proudly displayed at the front and back doors. The landscape is very tastefully done. This is the home of Tom and Betsy Parker on Preston Drive. This home has a beautiful water feature in the front yard with lots of large white rocks and plants. The home is on a quiet roadway, and the sounds of babbling brook are comforting and calming to the homeowners and their visitors. And it's very shady. It's beautiful. The First Presbyterian Church on Church Circle is the church winner for September. The church campus is well maintained with freshly cut grass and shrubs appropriately trimmed. A rose garden features beautiful blooms, and large clay pots hold various flowers and plants. The church campus is overall very inviting, clean, well maintained, and very pretty. The redevelopment winner for September is the new Eastman Credit Union branch on Clinchfield Street. The before photo shows an empty parking lot where Eastman Credit Union has constructed its first curbside service banking facility. This beautifully designed building is surrounded by green space and gorgeous landscaping, and is what Keep Kingsport Beautiful and the city's redevelopment efforts are all about. And if the winners would stand up if you're here, if you would stand up and be recognized, please.
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to the winners. So you make us proud that you show such a good face of Kingsport. That we really appreciate what you do. Okay, Mr. City Manager.
Okay, your first item is an appointment to the Neighborhood Advisory Commission. It's recommended to appoint Jerry Woods to fulfill the unexpired term of Sharon Morlock. We'd ask that you approve this appointment, please.
Thank you. Do I hear a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Next item.
Next item is approval of minutes from the work session on August 22nd, 2022, and the business meeting on August 23rd, 2022. We'd ask that you approve these minutes as submitted, please.
Thank you. As the city manager stated, we are being asked to approve two sets of minutes. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
We have one public hearing on the agenda tonight. This is to amend zoning of tax map 022, parcel 036.10, and a portion of parcel 036.06, located along University Boulevard from the R3 low-density apartment district to B3 and B3 highway-oriented business district to the R4 medium-density apartment district. Ken Weems, our planning manager, will conduct the public hearing.
Great, thank you so much. So this is a University Boulevard rezoning. Taking a look here at the vicinity map, you can see the rezoning site outlined in black right there. It's on the west side of Allendale that we all know so well, just to the southwest of Washington Elementary. Of course, you can see the street frontage it has there along University Boulevard. Give you an idea of where it is exactly. Taking a look at the zoning map, it's an owner-requested rezoning of just over 16 acres from the current zones of both R3 and B3 to the proposed R4 zone, medium-density apartment district. The purpose of the rezoning is to accommodate construction of 198 additional apartment units on the property. I say additional because the Bradley Hills apartments are already there on the north side of the rezoning. Of course, they're included in the rezoning area as well. Taking a look at the adjacent zones, the R1B zones to the north, that's one of our single-family districts. Allendale is an A1 zone. Of course, along Stone Drive, West Stone Drive, you see our B3 zones. Here's a cleaned-up aerial of the site. As with any rezoning, we also request, at a minimum, a conceptual site plan. And I have that here showing the 198 units. I do stress it's conceptual and, will change quite a bit before their actual submittal takes place.
Now, we discussed this quite a bit last night. Did you
Yes,
have
sir.
any new information?
No new information, but I did communicate, the Brooks Pavilion activities that go on right next to, the building number 9 there at the top of that graphic with the developer, just to make them aware it's a wedding venue and live bands and things of that nature.
Good, thank you.
And they did stress that they would, show sensitivity and, of course, abide by our zoning regulations to install the buffer as required against that, it's both an A1 zone and a city park. It's a buffer that's required up against both of them.
Thank you.
So-
Please continue.
Absolutely, sure. Well, there's not a whole lot left to it, but with the exception of the elevation drawing here, showing one of the, what a typical apartment building would look like as far as what would be built on the property, assuming that we have a successful rezoning. During their August meeting, the Planning Commission did vote to send a positive recommendation to the board, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
Thank you. Board, are there any questions for Mr. Weems or comments?
Looking at this, we're just looking at the zoning. With a site like this, they have to have a full plan back to you, where then you all will look at it and have some input to make sure that a lot of the buffers are in place, by then you'll have a traffic count. But as it stands right now, all this traffic is going out on University Boulevard, not
Yes, ma'am.
behind it toward the school.
Correct.
And, it said you all will have that to approve. Will that come back before this board, or will that just be approved in-house, or will that go to the planning department?
Will come to the planning department, and for the R3 zone, assuming that there are no variances requested, it is a staff level approval, and it will not come to the BMA. Yeah. So, and absolutely, we scrutinize all the site plans and go back and forth with the developer to make sure that they got it, that they, meet the standard, completely. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
Well, I think it's clear from our discussion last night that the board is very concerned that we maintain the ambiance of Allendale, and that the apartment folks are able to enjoy their homes without undue disturbance. So,
When it's all said and done, yes, sir, to include the existing ones, yes, sir.
okay.
Allendale may have just a split rail fence maybe, or chain link as you get further
Is
back.
it chain link? I couldn't see from where I was. I went pretty deep into the site, but it was just so
Yeah.
overgrown from the private property, perspective.
The
Looking at it, I
chain link's
couldn't
not
see it.
visible from the highway or anything.
No, not that I've ever seen. Yeah.
Board, anything else for Mr. Weems before I declare the public hearing? If not, I declare that this is a public hearing, which means that citizens can come forward and comment on this proposed rezoning. Are there any citizens that wish to do so? If not, then I declare the public hearing, to be over. And Mr. Attorney, please publish the ordinance.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code text and map to rezone property located along University Boulevard from the R3 and B3 districts to the R4 medium-density apartment district in the first civil district of Hawkins County, to fix a penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman. Is there any discussion? Again, we discussed this at quite a length last night, the board, and appreciate your presentation, Mr. Weems.
Sure.
If no further discussion, this is a first reading of an ordinance. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes on first reading, 7-0. Thank you, Mr. Weems. At this point in our proceedings, we've reached the part where the citizens may come forward and speak to the board on agenda items just on the agenda, the items that we're going to vote on tonight. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. A total of 30 minutes is allocated for public comment during this part of the agenda. Are there any citizens that wish to come forward and comment on an item or more from the agenda? If not, Mr. City Manager, please proceed.
Next item is consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for the sewer fund in fiscal '23. The budget adjustment is being amended by transferring $250,000 from our professional consulting line item, as well as various other line items that you see here for a total amount of $400,000. This came to us as a result of submitting the budget to the state and the state making a recommendation back for these adjustments. No additions to the budget, just simply restructuring that. So we'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. And again, I'd remind our public that all the members of the board have been over these items, first one-on-one, each board member with the city manager, then in a session, a work session together. We're not allowed to vote at a work session, and now that we see it now. So we've had plenty of time to absorb the information and so forth, so usually these proceedings move fairly quickly. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the sewer fund budget for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of an ordinance to amend the fiscal '23 general purpose school fund and general project fund budgets. This comes to us from the Board of Education. The items that you see listed within the executive summary are 4 items that you will see as we move through the agenda. This is setting up the necessary funding to make renovations to the north gym in anticipation of use while the dome is being repaired, and then also setting aside dollars for the potential purchase of the former Colonial Heights Middle School. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance on first reading, please.
Thank you. And I guess we ought to emphasize that the city as a whole, school system has got the lead, is doing its best to bring the gym at North Campus up to speed in time for basketball season.
Absolutely. A lot of work is being done on both sides. Appreciate the work that our staff has lended to Kingsport City Schools, Ryan McReynolds, Michael Borders, helping out with that, as well as Brent Morlock and our purchasing department helping to get the bids ready. We got a bid opening tomorrow. We've got a called meeting by both boards later this week to take the necessary steps. The goal is to be in there in December and to be able to host a tournament there, as well as the home games for Dobbins Bennett girls and boys athletics.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund and general project fund budgets for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a consideration of an ordinance to amend zoning. This is for the Browder Road annexation. This comes to you on second and final reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. For our public, again, we have 5 different second readings of an ordinance. They require a roll call vote. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to further amend the zoning code, text, and map to rezone property located along Browder Road from County B3 General Commercial District to R3 Low Density Apartment District in the 7th Civil District of Sullivan County, to fix a penalty for the violation of this ordinance and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? I'm looking at Mr. Williams. About how many homes are we talking about again?
It's 3 or 4 different buildings, and roughly, I think, 10 to 12 units is what he's looking at right now.
So
3 or 4 buildings and roughly 10 to 12 units.
10 to 12 families. It could be a person, but, okay, thank you. Any other discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Aye. Vice Mayor George. Aye. Alderman Montgomery. Aye. Alderman Alterman. Aye. Alderman Phillips. Aye. Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is consideration of a budget adjustment ordinance for various funds in fiscal '23. Again, this is coming to you on second reading. A variety of things within the general fund as well as in the enterprise funds. We'd ask that you approve this ordinance on second and final reading, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend various fund budgets for the year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan, seconded by Alderman. Any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is an ordinance to amend the fiscal '23 general purpose school fund budget. This comes to us on second and final reading, and we'd ask that you approve this ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend the general purpose school fund for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, the item passes 7-0. Next item.
Next item is an ordinance to amend the fiscal '23 school special projects fund budget. This is also on second and final reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Please publish.
An ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2023 school special projects fund budget and to fix the date of this, the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Third by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion? I'd just say that, Mr. City Manager, we've had this discussion before, but it's normal business to alter budgets throughout the course of the year.
Absolutely, and in both of these cases with the schools, this is a result of additional revenue coming in that was not known to them at the time the budget was adopted for fiscal '23. And we'll see that as we go throughout the fiscal year, other adjustments in revenue. A lot of what the school funding is based upon is formula-based, so as that changes throughout the year, we'll see that adjusted. So,
The largest part of their budget comes from our state.
correct,
So.
right.
Okay, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
You've got a motion.
Oh, I've got it
and a
on the
second.
floor, I'm sorry. Any further discussion? Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes 7-0. Next item.
Next item is an ordinance amending sections 155 and 157 of Article 4, Chapter 66 of the Kingsport Code of Ordinances regarding the composition of the Bays Mountain Park Commission. This item is also on second reading. We'd ask that you approve the ordinance, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
An ordinance to amend sections 155 and 157 of Article 4, Chapter 66 of the Code of Ordinances, City of Kingsport, Tennessee, relating to the Bays Mountain Park Commission and to fix the effective date of this ordinance.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion?
I'm going to be abstaining from this vote because I am currently on this commission.
Thank you, and we appreciate your service on the
I'm
commission.
really excited to be on the commission.
Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alterman. Alderman Phillips. Mayor Schul.
Aye, it passes 6 affirmative votes and 1 abstention. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the purchase of 2 2022 Autocar ASL refuse trucks utilizing the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement. These are fleet replacement vehicles. They will be within our sanitation department. There's a picture of the
Oh, yeah.
vehicle. She's a real beaut.
Yeah, we love the pictures. I know James wants to drive that.
Yeah. Right. Mayor would ask that you approve this resolution, please.
That's your largest truck, that model.
Yeah.
You know, an interesting thing is the city has some smaller trucks that get down alleys and things, so they're pretty flexible guys. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to municipal equipment utilizing Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement number 091219-NWY for 2 refuse trucks for the Kingsport Sanitation Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion?
We purchase these with everything going on. What kind of time frame are we looking at? Is it,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's listed within the memo that's coming in from Fleet, but we're somewhere in probably neighborhood of 180 days is on average of what we're seeing. As we discussed, we've been discussing while we've seen some opportunities by going through cooperative purchasing agreements to get vehicles. We're still seeing the exact same thing that our citizens are facing when they're trying to buy vehicles. There's not a lot on the lot. There's typically going to be a delay. There's going to be high demand for those, and so you're kind of getting in line, and you're also paying more. I think Ryan mentioned last night we're paying a little over probably $150,000 total dollars more than what we were paying last time we were out looking for these vehicles. So, it's the impact of inflation.
in looking at that, these are replacement vehicles, and we have a schedule when we do it. Are we taking the extra time frame in account and approving these earlier, or are we just dealing with it on the backside?
More than likely, it's on the backside. So we're having to respond when the funding comes and then extending the vehicles a little longer.
Thank you.
For our public, this is Mr. Ryan McReynolds, our Deputy City Manager. So compared to, say, 4 years ago, it's simply taken longer to get these things.
Yes, much longer,
Much more
and
money.
as Chris mentioned, at a higher cost.
And a higher cost. Thank you. Any further discussion, Board?
How often do you replace these? I mean, are they like, how long do they last?
So 7 years is a good life of a garbage truck. I'm not quite sure what the age of the ones that are rolling off the fleet are, but they get a lot of wear and tear. It's not an easy life because you're stopping and starting so much.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but they also take the maintenance record for a specific vehicle into account and the mileage and so forth.
That's right. That's what's so nice about the program. Sometime the maintenance on it costs much more than the depreciation. So it's in everyone's best interest to get a newer fleet out there, so you're paying less in depreciation and maintenance versus a lot of maintenance on them. I mean, these are very expensive pieces of equipment to work on, the different pieces and parts of them.
But there is some residual value when you essentially trade them in or go
There
to
is,
gov surplus or whatever.
Yes, these will be, it's a complicated situation, but there will be 2 come out into gov deals, and there is residual value. There's still individuals that are picking up companies, servicing certain areas that can, spend quite a bit of time probably getting them up and running, and it has value to them.
County residents live outside our city limits. They still have to contract individually for garbage pickup, right?
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, remind me, where am I in the proceeding?
Mr. Mayor, you ready for a vote?
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The big truck passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one 2022 New Holland boom mower utilizing a Sourcewell cooperative purchasing agreement. You can see a picture of this one here. And this item will be used within our grounds maintenance department. It is also a fleet replacement And so, as Ryan mentioned, it has been depreciated out. It's time to be replaced, and so we'd ask that you approve the resolution authorizing the purchase, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to Chattanooga Tractor utilizing Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Agreement number 110719-C&H for one boom mower for use by the Grounds Maintenance Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery, seconded by Alderman Duncan. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the purchase of one CAT 308 mini excavator from the Tennessee State contract. You can see a picture of that one here.
That's cool.
Yep. This is also a fleet replacement vehicle to be used by our Streets Maintenance Department. Again, purchasing this one from the state contract, a little different from the cooperative purchasing agreement, but still an effective way for us to get the vehicle. We'd ask that you approve the resolution authorizing the purchase, please.
Track vehicle reminds me of the time I ran the tank into the tree and everybody was mad at me, but I was much younger then.
You can save that for communications at the end.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a purchase order to Stowers Machinery Corporation utilizing Tennessee State Contract number 72872 for one CAT 308 mini excavator for use by the Streets Maintenance Department.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? Second by the Vice Mayor. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kingsport for the use of available space for Kingsport City Schools. This was an item that was being discussed last school year, especially towards the end of the school year. This is in regards to providing additional space for those attending Cora Cox Academy. And so this comes to us from the Board of Education, and we ask that you approve the resolution, please.
You know, I've been through the Boys and Girls Club, and they have several classrooms at the second floor. Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding for the use of space at Boys and Girls Club of Greater Kingsport's facility by Kingsport City Schools and to execute any and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to amend the agreement with Energy Systems Group to change the scope of work to include Kingsport North Gym. This was work that was scheduled to be done at Buck Glen Husdome. The school board has asked us to approve this resolution authorizing this work to take place at the North Gym. Again, part of several items you have, other items we have coming up in our called meeting in order to prepare this gym for play later this calendar year. We'd ask that you approve this resolution, please.
Absolutely, and we appreciate the efforts of both your staff and the school, the system, to get this thing going. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution amending the agreement with Energy Systems Group LLC and authorizing the mayor to execute all necessary documents.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to amend the agreement with Kane Rash West Architects to include the former Sullivan North High School gym. This is necessary work for preparing the bid, preparing the construction administration that will be taking place by Kane Rash West as they move forward with the gym renovation. So we'd ask that you approve this resolution, please.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an amendment to the agreement with Kane Rash West for architectural services for the former Sullivan North High School renovation and authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment and all of the documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the amendment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Vice Mayor. Any discussion?
Yeah, I think they were actually working on a new tagline for that, and I think we'll have that probably sooner rather than later as to what they're going to refer to it as.
At the North Campus. Yeah. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to accept a monetary donation for Kingsport City Schools. This is an anonymous donation in the amount of $100,000 that will go towards replacement of the wood floor for the North Gym. So we are very appreciative of this, as always. Appreciate the support our school system gets from the citizens of Kingsport, and very much ask that you all approve this resolution.
Absolutely. Our thanks go out to Mr. and/or Miss Anonymous for this donation. It's very generous, and the city is very appreciative. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution accepting a monetary donation for flooring at the former Sullivan North High School gym.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? Thank you. Any further? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? How could you oppose this? It passes 7-0.
Next item is a resolution to authorize the reimbursement of materials agreement funds to Hickory Ridge LLC related to the Friley Court development. This is located in the Rock Springs community of the city of Kingsport. This is a reimbursement for the work that has been done. We'd ask that you approve this resolution, please.
And several new homes in that area.
Absolutely.
Oh. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing reimbursement of materials agreement funds to Hickory Ridge LLC for the Friley Court development.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to authorize the reimbursement of materials agreement funds to HPV related to the Camus Yards development. This is located off of East Center Street near Kiwanis Towers and Robinson Middle School. I'd ask that you approve the resolution, please.
Thank you. Are they ready to accept residents now?
I don't think they're at that point yet, but they're getting close.
Yeah, it must be getting pretty close. Miss Jessica's shaking her hand, no? Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, they hadn't gone vertical yet. I got you. Okay, Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing reimbursement of materials agreement funds to HPV for the Camus Yards development.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0.
Next item is a resolution approving the Tennessee Department of Transportation matching funds for grant contract FTA 031-01 for the Katz Transit Garage construction. As you know, earlier in the year, the Board of Mayor and Alderman approved the additional funding. This is going to officially accept the state funding in the amount of $80,000. Talking about going vertical, Mayor, the garage is now going vertical.
Yeah.
It'll be a nice asset there on that campus, and so we'd ask that you approve this resolution, please.
Yeah, and the federal government paid the largest share. So-
Correct.
So
Yep.
it is definitely a bargain for the city. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an amendment to the Tennessee Department of Transportation contract number GG-22-7309 for additional funds for the Section 5307 capital grant funds from the U.S. Department of Transportation for Federal Transit Administration grant contract number FTA 031-01 for the construction of a transit garage and maintenance facility, and authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the amendment.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the contract between the City of Kingsport and the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. This has to do with our landfill. In the event that we would ever need to close that, we need to ensure that we have the funding there. This has been adjusted for inflation. You see that amount there listed. So we'd ask that you approve this resolution, please.
Right, it essentially says we're good for it.
Correct.
Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution approving an amendment to the contract in lieu of performance bond with the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation, increasing the amount of financial assurance for the landfill and authorizing the mayor to execute the amendment and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of the amendment or this resolution.
Yeah. Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? It's on the floor. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution authorizing the Kingsport Economic Development Board on behalf of the City of Kingsport to enter into the bidding process for the purchase of the former Colonial Heights Middle School property. As we have discussed a couple of times leading up to tonight's vote, the Sullivan County Board of Education has stated that they will be moving forward with a public online auction with a minimum bid for this property at $2 million. Kingsport City Schools has expressed interest in this property for quite some time, really going back, I think, several years. As you look at the Colonial Heights area and you look at the annexations that have taken place within that particular community of the city, they really began back in the late 80s, and they continued pretty much every year moving forward until annexation by ordinance was ended in 2014. And since then, we've had owner-requested annexations within that area. Unfortunately, there is not a school site that is a city school site within that district. The goal here for Kingsport City Schools, should they be successful, would be to be able to position themselves for future use of that as a Kingsport City School. They have provided the funding at a maximum limit of $2.25 million. We would ask the Economic Development Board to do the bidding of this on our behalf. Should they be successful, the Board of Education would then reimburse them for the amount of the bid, and then the property would be transferred to Kingsport City Schools. Again, this comes to you from the Board of Education, and we'd ask that you approve the resolution, please.
So the building and grounds are well within the city limits,
Absolutely.
and the bid is done online, but it's essentially a sealed bid, but no?
It's not a sealed bid. To our understanding, this will be very apparent to whoever is bidding, who is bidding and the amount that's being bid.
Okay, that's good to know. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor as designated to enter into the bidding process for the purchase of the Colonial Heights Middle School property.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion?
They have to accept the highest bid on this project.
It's my understanding the Sullivan County Board of Education has structured this in a way that they do not have to accept the highest bid.
Is there any inclination that since we are part of Sullivan County, that we would get a favored position with the school system?
They have not indicated that.
It would seem that if we are citizens of Sullivan County, that would be a favored position for us, don't you think?
I agree. I agree.
Alderman Duncan said yesterday we'd already paid once.
It would be nice if the citizens in that area reached out to their school board representative and expressed their viewpoint on the benefit of keeping that as a county, city, school in the city for our kids that do pay taxes here. But again, that's their determination, but it's always, I think as elected officials, we always appreciate hearing for how people that we represent feel. So I hope some of our citizens do make a phone call.
Has there been any communication at all between the Sullivan County BOE and any city BOE or school system employee?
It's my understanding that there have been conversations between the two bodies.
Okay.
And it's a growth area within our city, that general area.
That's correct. When
That
we-
end of town, I guess.
Correct. When we look at opportunities for development that are within the urban growth boundary, so that we see opportunities that potentially owner-requested annexations for development, similar to what you all recently approved with the Fieldcrest annexation. We begin to look at the need for city services that are within that. We also begin to look at the Colonial Heights neighborhood, and as that turns over, and we see young families move in there with children, being able to make sure that we can accommodate them within the city of Kingsport's existing system or within a new facility.
And the county's going to build a new EMS station very close by out there.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
The city, the DOE's facility study come in.
We are anticipating that probably being complete towards the end of October, 1st of November. I think there is a desire at that point for a joint meeting between the Board of Education and the Board of Mayor and Alderman. In fact, I think we may have one already penciled in on the calendar in anticipation of that report being back. It would be nice, as we discussed last night, if we had that facility study back and we could understand exactly where the path is kind of guiding us moving forward. But the timing of this bid and the timing of the study just are not in line. Although we'll say the school, the staff for the schools have done a really good job of just kind of walking through the demographics, understanding the population growth, looking at the zones and looking at the schools that presently are fed by that area and recognizing that they are at capacity. So additional growth is going to further strain them, or it's going to require possibly rezoning to accommodate it.
Saying that, I know you kind of mentioned the timing is not ideal, but did I not hear along the way that when Alderman Montgomery was on the school board, that this was a piece of property that was already being looked at or, considered that this would be good in the city at some point, or be a good location, I guess. It's in the city, but be a good location for a school. Did I make that up, or did I hear that?
Well, what I heard, and what I know Betsy, of course, both Betsy and Paul have been on the Board of Education, Betsy most recently. I mean, this was talk several years ago when you were on the Board of Education for the Kingsport City Schools about this site or a site within this part of our city. So yes, it has been discussed for quite some time, not just within the last 12 months that this has kind of been in the headlines.
See, because I think that's important, because I don't want people to get the idea that this board or people just said, here's a piece of property, we got to go grab it, without, there's been ideas about this in the past.
This, we're 55,000 residents that live inside the city of Kingsport also reside in Sullivan County. So this is, it would be a benefit to the Sullivan County citizens that live in the city to have this property stay as an elementary school or go from a middle school to an elementary school at that location.
Agree.
If the city did secure the building, though, they would have to evaluate it in terms of, does it need to be renovated? Do we need to start over or whatever, right?
Yeah, I think in the conversations that we have had with school officials over the last several weeks regarding this property, if they are the successful bidder, at that point, they will need to sit down, utilizing the data from the facility study, utilizing expertise from architectural and engineering firms to determine what is in the best interest for the district moving forward with that property.
Okay. Well, thank you. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Did you know Scooters in Colonial Heights is one of the top performing scooters in the nation?
I did. They have some very good coffee there.
Okay, and there's scooters in 20 different states. I know you like it when I get off that topic. Please proceed.
Okay, Board, the next three items are related, and they have to do with the staff's recommendation for us to move back to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. Last night, we had a very extensive presentation done by our HR Director, Tyra Copas. She's here for questions, should you have them, as well as other members of the committee that have worked on this. Happy to go through that again. If not, I would just simply recommend we take each item as we move through here. The first is a resolution to enter into the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System hybrid plan with cost controls, and this will become effective on January 1, 2023. There are 2 resolutions associated with this item, and be happy to answer any questions regarding this.
Thank you, and we appreciate the fact that Ms. Copas and you and others have briefed all of us individually in detail about this, as well as in a group, and so this is an important action being contemplated. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution to authorize the political subdivision's participation in the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System in accordance with Tennessee Code Annotated Title 8, Chapters 34 through 37.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? It's moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion?
Mayor, I would just simply add, we look at this and we kind of look back at where we've been. In 2012, we made a decision to leave TCRS. I think it's always been interesting to note in the research that we did on this, we were the first city in the state of Tennessee to enter into TCRS. When we left, that was done simply out of the fact that the program just was no longer affordable. There was not cost control measures put in place. And the city was really at that time in some financial distress coming out of a long recession that we had felt the impacts of, and just kind of concerned as to where the future would be with TCRS, absence of any changes. I applaud TCRS. I believe Kingsport was very influential in a lot of the changes that were made and have been put in place. And so that is reflective in what is being presented to you all in a program that provides those cost controls while at the same time providing a historic benefit that our employees recognize.
Thank you. And I think it's important that our public know that there's numerous agencies that evaluate all 50 states' retirement plans. And Tennessee, year after year after year, comes out right at the top in terms of solvency, how well it's managed, and so forth. So, again, this is an important action. Mr. Attorney, I see that we have 2 resolutions associated with this. Then I have to take 2 separate votes, correct?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so do I hear a motion to approve?
You got it.
You made that, and so it's,
In a second.
okay, and it's for the first one, the Consolidated Retirement System Resolution. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the first resolution pertaining to this item, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. Attorney, do I need to put this out on the, publish this again?
No, you can proceed with the.
Proceed with the vote. Okay, this is on the second part of this resolution for a tax-deferred retirement plan. Is there a motion to approve?
No.
Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second. Second by Alderman. Okay, this is a little more complicated than the normal one. All right, is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Now we're on your next item.
Right, next item also associated with the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. This is a resolution to implement the bridge benefit with Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System hybrid plan with cost controls as of January 1, 2023. This was an item that in 2012 was put in place as we looked at TCRS and as we moved kind of towards that departure that was put in there. One of the things that you have heard us talk a lot about has been retention and attraction. Not necessarily from the attraction retention, but retention and attraction. We very much believe that this component of TCRS will be of great benefit for both Kingsport Fire Department and Kingsport Police Department as they look to recruit and retain people to come in to work for us. There are components here that recognize the age, and I think that's something that has to be taken into consideration with these jobs. So at the same time, There are exceptions for those that are in administrative roles, such as
Right.
on the executive team or as deputy chiefs within the fire department. And so this, again, does a little different than maybe what we've seen in the past, but this does not have the cost controls. However, when we look at that rate, it's been very minimal increase, less than 1%, since its inception in 2012. So one resolution here, we'd ask that you approve this, please.
In essence, it accounts for the fact that being a line firefighter or police officer is very physically demanding, and therefore their retirement is a little bit different from some other city workers. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution to establish a mandatory retirement age requirement pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-36-205 to authorize the payment of the supplemental bridge benefit pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-36-211 and to authorize Group 1 members who have creditable service in a Group 1 position covered by such mandatory age retirement to retire on service retirement benefits upon attainment of age 55 with 25 years of creditable service pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated Section 8-36-201A2.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Duncan. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion?
In this, we approve this today and it goes into effect January 2023. If someone right now is 61 years old, does that mean they're mandatory that they've got to retire in January?
So if they were hired prior to 2012, they are probably already on the bridge program because they're tied to the legacy plan. For our employees that are hired after 2012, July 1st, 2012, they have the option. They'll have an option to go into the hybrid plan with the bridge or to stay in a defined contribution plan only. So if they're not ready to retire, then they could choose the defined contribution and there's no mandatory retirement.
Already past that age and they're not prepared to retire or are
Right.
not ready, there is another option for
There's an option for
our
them to
current
stay
employees.
without. Yeah, the mandatory retirement is only tied to the bridge and the TCRS plan.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion, questions, comment? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager?
Next item is a resolution adopting an agreement for 401K and 457 plan effective January 1, 2023. Again, this is also tied back in with the plans that we have to make for retirement effective on January 1 of 2023. And again, this establishes these two plans to be managed by the state. I think it's important to note that now with these actions that the retirement for the city of Kingsport will all be managed through the state of Tennessee. So kind of that one-stop shop helps us as we work with employees to provide information regarding their retirement. We're able to point them in that same direction. This is also in line with what we see presently with Kingsport City Schools teachers. This will also apply, all of what we've approved here tonight minus the bridge will also apply to the non-classified positions with Kingsport City Schools. This has been budgeted. Failed to mention that earlier, but when we discussed this back in February at the strategic planning session, we talked about it then. We moved forward in preparation for this. So John Morris put it in his budget, as did David Fry for the Kingsport City Schools. So 2 resolutions on this item. Be happy to answer any questions. Michael and Tyra are there as well. Somebody might just want to ask Michael a question.
It looks like he's leaning forward to answer a question.
Yes, it can.
This is one of those things that we've talked about, I mean, because I think we were in Nashville, was it January?
Yes.
That we, and so we've talked about it for a while, so we've known about it and talked about it for a while.
I'll get the attorney to publish here. Mr. Attorney?
A resolution adopting an agreement for a 401K plan effective January 1st, 2023.
Okay, and we're voting just on the first item, the 401K.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Do I hear a motion to approve? Moved by Alderman Phillips. Is there a second? second by Alderman Montgomery. Any discussion on the 401K? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. Attorney, now do you have to publish the 457?
I will, yes, sir.
Thank you.
A resolution adopting an agreement for a 457 plan effective January 1st, 2023.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve that part of the resolution? Moved by Alderman Montgomery. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Duncan. Any discussion on this item? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
All right, our next item is a resolution to approve the purchase of property located at 124 Cherokee Street. This is located across the street from Bellafina Chocolates and behind Main Street Pizza. It's commonly known as a barking lot, but it is a dog park that has been in place for quite some time. Up until recently, it was leased and managed by the Downtown Kingsport Association. Their initial agreement with the original property owner had a clause in there that gave them first right of refusal. They were approached about a purchase. The owner contacted DKA in conversations with the city staff, and just the realization that there is a need for a dog park downtown. We're asking you all to move forward with the purchase of this. As we look at the development occurring downtown and more people choosing to live in lofts who have dogs, provides for that. In time, there will be additional dog parks located in the Brickyard development. So the board may look at this lot again in the future, or we may choose to keep it. But at this time, we'd ask that it be purchased so that we can continue to use it as a dog park under the direction of our Kingsport Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. And I appreciate the fact that we have two other dog parks, one next to our baseball stadium, Hunter Wright Stadium on the west end of town, and then one by the Pet Works Animal Shelter on the east end of town. So we try our best to accommodate our pet owners. Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of real property at 124 Cherokee Street and authorizing the mayor to execute a purchase agreement and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by the Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion?
A little bit of both. We will take over the general maintenance of that, but we will also be working with Peak, the Young Professionals Organization under the Chamber. They've identified this project as well as a future dog park at Brickyard as community impact projects that they want to be part of and will be working on. So they'll be doing various programming and then, as necessary, more detailed maintenance to the site.
Okay. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? It passes 7-0. Mr. City Manager.
Next item is a resolution to enter into a lease with Hope, Inc. This is for space, actually Suite 202 in the nonprofit wing of the V.O. Dobbins complex. If you will recall, when we renovated V.O. Dobbins, a 3-story addition was built solely for the purpose of housing nonprofits. The goal at that time is the same goal that we have today, providing them with a nice, convenient facility to allow them to focus on their mission and not so much focusing on their facility. This was advertised, and we had one submittal that came to us from Hope, and you see the square footage there as well as the annual cost per square foot. And this is a lease for the next 5 years. So we'd ask that you approve the resolution authorizing the execution of this lease.
Thank you. And thank you, Alderman Montgomery.
I'll be abstaining on this too.
Because your wife's a board member. For our citizens, HOPE is an acronym. It's helping our potential evolve. And it's a very well-run program to help bring youth along. It teaches life skills and generally helps them become productive citizens. And so it's a good thing. And Mr. Attorney, please publish.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a lease agreement with Hope, Inc. for the use of space at the V.O. Dobbins Senior Complex and to execute any and all other documents necessary and proper to effectuate the purpose of this resolution.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve? Moved by Vice Mayor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Phillips. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Any opposed? The item passes with 5 affirmative votes and 2 abstentions. Mr. City Manager.
All right, now move into the consent agenda. We have 7 items on the agenda. I'll read through each one of those. If you'd like one pulled for additional clarification, please let me know. First is a resolution approving a stormwater annual compliance report for the Tennessee Department of Environment and Conservation. The second is a resolution authorizing the assignment of all employee benefit policies under one broker of record. The third is a resolution to authorize the addition of voluntary benefits to the city's benefits portfolio. The fourth is a resolution authorizing vacation rollover exception for calendar year 2022. Fifth is consideration of resolutions to amend personnel policies. Six is a resolution authorizing an application for voluntary vision benefits through Davis Vision. And the last is a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute a letter of agreement of the Tennessee Department of Intellectual and Development Disabilities to receive a grant for the Kingsport Miracle Field. If you'd like any of those pulled for further consideration, please let me know.
Thank you. Board, are there any members that want to consider any of these items separately? If not, is there a motion to approve? Thank you. The Vice Mayor put all 7 items within the consent agenda on the floor. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Cooper. Any discussion? If not, Madam Recorder, please take the vote.
Alderman Cooper. Alderman Duncan. Vice Mayor George. Alderman Montgomery. Alderman Alderman.
Aye to all.
Alderman Phillips. Mayor Shaw.
Aye to all items, therefore all 7 items pass unanimously. Mr. City Manager.
All right, we now move into the communications portion of the agenda. I want to take just a second to thank the Board of Mayor and Alderman for your votes tonight regarding our return to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. As Alderman Cooper referenced, this has been a conversation for almost 9 months now, I guess, that we have been looking at this. This was a goal that I had when I became city manager a little over 3 years ago, that we'd be able to return to this. At the end of the day, it is my belief, it's the staff's belief, that this is the best path forward for our employees and for their families. This helps us to become much more competitive in an extremely competitive workforce. And that's something that we have realized as we talked to you all last night. Last year we probably averaged somewhere between 55 to 60 vacancies throughout the entire fiscal year. That's unheard of, at least in my 25 years now with the city of Kingsport. And so recognizing that we anticipate others within our market potentially to return to this, other government agencies, that is, the need to do this now and to get ahead of it was the best thing to do. In addition to that, I want to thank you all again for the work that you did on the budget as it pertains to the raises that were provided to our employees. That has proven to be very beneficial in our ability to recruit and bring people in, as well as demonstrating to our existing employees what has really been a long-standing tradition with this city, and is one that is recognized across the state, and that is that we continually take care of our employees, and we do what we need to do for them. As you've heard me say 1,000 times, we are a service-based industry. It takes people to deliver those services. When those positions are vacant, there's something not getting done, or there's the impact on another employee who's having to work overtime to make that happen. So again, I appreciate not only what you all have done, but I think back on past boards as what they have done to make the best decisions that were possible for our employees. So thank you very, very much. Both Alderman and I are supporting our blue and gold tonight for the Bucks, even though the mayor's team possibly cheated us out of a win last Saturday.
A sore loser.
I'm just repeating what I've heard, Mayor. That's all.
Go Dogs.
But the Bucks are back in action Saturday against Furman, so go Bucks, roll Tribe.
I can't believe you talk about my alma mater like that. Mr. Darrell, please go ahead.
Just a couple quick items. Just the first one's on Connect Kingsport. If people hadn't downloaded that app yet, I would suggest they do that. It is a great place to put citizen concerns, whether it's a pothole or street light or just graffiti or almost anything. I noticed today when I looked, we're at almost 7,400 jobs completed through that app. So it is it's working and it works.
Matthew
very well.
Lane put out an announcement about that today. Thank you.
He sure did. And then each and every board meeting, we have people that volunteers for all kinds of different boards across our city. And that is really appreciated. Each one of these boards has a certain thing that they do that really supports not only us, but our city in so many different ways. So we really appreciate people as they volunteer. And it seems like almost every meeting, it's at least one or sometimes even more. So with that in mind, we just gratitude for that. And then finally, just quickly, for the chamber puts out each week a newsletter, and there's more stuff on that you can possibly mention tonight. So I would just urge people to go to the chamber website and look, just saw what's going on. It is from Halloween events to fall festivals to plays and everything else. So just plenty to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Betsy?
Get out and enjoy this beautiful weather, fall weather we've had the last couple of days.
It has been wonderful. Thank you. Paul?
Last evening, what's my preference for the activities this evening? I am in support of the library, and I plan to support the library when that comes as an issue for us to vote for. The other thing is, we talk a lot about regionalism and to support regionalism. There's a saying that charity begins at home, and we're not asking the county for charity, but we're asking them for consideration in that project for Colonial Heights. That's me.
That's a good point. Yes, we're not allowed to vote at a work session, and Alderman Montgomery had a different idea, and I had a different idea about how we should spend the federal ARPA money for the pandemic relief. But we had to get it out there so that the city manager can work on with the city attorney to get this put in whatever legal form it takes to vote on it. And we're all happy about improving our library. It's a great thing. And of course, I'll vote for that, and as well as the others will.
All great projects, too.
Yeah, all the projects were great. I mean, it's not like we could make a bad decision on any of them, but the library was the consensus, and that's great because, as the vice mayor pointed out, that's the one thing that touches everybody. I mean, the Justice Center, a citizen may never come in contact with Justice Center. They don't go to court. They don't have to go to court. They don't have interaction with the police, but everybody has an opportunity to visit the library. And there's this is a 21st century library. They do some great things.
One other comment on that, Mayor. I
Yeah.
asked Chris when we left last night, and who's over the library, and she said before COVID, we was having over 200,000 people a year visit.
Yeah.
It had dropped down during COVID, but we're up and gaining ground and heading toward 150 now. So we're
Yeah.
somewhere between that 120 and 150 right
And remember, it's open on Saturday, so good. Is that it, Paul? James?
I can't believe, I had 4 bullet points so I could cross them out as people got to them, and no one got one of them. So I'll run through quickly. It did feel like fall today. It was wonderful. Football season is here. Big game this weekend for Miami. Very excited. I won't be there, though, so they'll probably win. Fall Fest, downtown Kingsport, September 24th. Then also, this is race week, so be nice to your visitors that are coming in.
Hold on, James. Fall Fest is downtown, right? October 1st. The Exchange has their, Exchange place has their.
Farmers market.
Yeah, you're talking about the farmer's market.
So Lamplight directs the Fall Festival downtown on October the 1st.
We've got October 1st, and we've got the
The Exchange Place is 24, 25
And
September.
then Farmers Market's 22nd, isn't it, or 24?
24th is a Saturday.
I think it's
Right.
I think it's 24th.
24th is Saturday, 25th is
Saturday.
Sunday. I signed up to take money at the Exchange Place.
Fall Fest on September 24th.
At Farmers Market.
At Farm,
At Farmers Market.
Okay.
It's a plant bar. The plant bar is doing some things there.
yeah.
So, yes,
I wanted to keep the location
lots of
straight.
festivals.
Yeah.
Check your chamber newsletter
Yeah.
to get where, when, and what. But also, this is race week, so lots of visitors in town, lots of people in our hotels. Say hello to the visitors when you see them out. There is a green flag party hosted at High Voltage tomorrow to kind of kick off race week here in Kingsport. So race week is always an exciting time, and now that it's a playoff race, it's even more exciting. And it's, speaking of regionalism, it's wonderful for the region when that track is full of people. So, and then finally, just a note here. Just since this is our only meeting in September, just wanted to say that Dr. Morehouse sent out I guess an email or a press release was sent out that Dr. Morehouse is retiring. And so I would just like to publicly thank Dr. Morehouse for everything he has done for CTE, not just for, he's done so much for the schools, but just for the CTE programs, it is a very difficult balance in the school system between focusing on high test scores, high grades, the kids that are going to Duke and Vanderbilt and everywhere else, versus also putting enough emphasis on your CTE training. And he has done a wonderful job at that, and very appreciative for his help in that, and looking forward to him seeing through some of the things through December. So hate to see him go, but I know Kingsport City Schools will find a great person to fill that role. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Tommy?
I need to bring the Dolan's Bend Indians back up.
Okay.
We're still undefeated,
Yep.
and we got a good test next week. That's Greenville coming to town. So I'd like everybody to come out to that game.
Yep.
Cheer the Indians on. Did I miss anything, D? Okay.
They play wrestling.
Westridge,
Oh,
we
yeah,
play
we
away
got
at
West-
Westridge.
We got Westridge.
It's coming Friday.
That's right.
They must be expecting a lot of traffic, but there's been a lot of communication through Facebook about traffic going into the game.
And the Dobbins Bennett Band is going to the game.
Yep.
So the game doesn't actually start till 7:30 instead of 7, to try and get that traffic.
There you go.
There you go.
Everybody contributed tonight, so I appreciate it.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Vice Mayor?
Touched on everything. I think I'm good.
Really? You sure? Okay, well, I've got Ryan McReynolds' favorite magazine, Tennessee Public Works Magazine. And it's got a picture of Ryan on one end and City Manager McCart on the other end. And then the fellow in the middle is Mr. B.K. Addington, and he received a statewide award as an individual. It's awarded by a public works employee for outstanding performance. Someone at the line level, Mr. Addington is a wastewater maintenance crew chief, and that's a great award. Now, the bear behind him is not a city employee, so, but he's in there too in the picture. So congratulations, Mr. Addington, and we appreciate your award. It's called the Murphy Snoddery Award, and it's just given to an outstanding guy in the state. And we've got a bunch of outstanding employees, Mr. City Manager. Absolutely. Let's see. We mentioned tourism. I guess James mentioned tourism. You know, I remind our citizens, tourism is the second largest industry in our state, followed by, or preceded by agriculture is number one. So it's important that we have conventions and things here at Kingsport, and we do a great job hosting people, and I appreciate our citizens just being so friendly and welcoming to our visitors. And I put out a weekly email to citizens. I guess I mail out to over maybe 600 people. people email my email to others, and it shows up on social
I'm not on
media
your
and
email,
so forth.
Mayor.
Well, you need to get on, you are on it, right, Tommy?
I don't receive it.
I send it to BMA every week.
Did I receive his email, D?
Yes, she's shaking her head, Tommy. He's just mad because the Signal beat him. But if you want to be on my email, just call City Hall and give them your email address and say you want to get the mayor's weekly email. But, okay. Anyway, there's a lot of good things going on in the city. You can tell by like all the housing starts and so forth. And, well, let me get into the next part of our meeting then. We're at the portion where citizens can come forward to the podium and speak to the board, and you can speak on any issue-oriented item, something that pertains, to the city, of civic interest. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address and sign the register that is provided. You're encouraged to keep your comments non-personal in nature, and they should be limited to 5 minutes. Are there any citizens who wish to come forward and speak to the board? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us tonight for the Kingsport BMA meeting. This program has been a production of the City of Kingsport in cooperation with Milligan Productions, Milligan University, and Charter Communications. For more information, visit kingsporttn.gov.